Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So yesterday we had another little flurry of Tories join Reform UK, but the most noteworthy was Jonathan Gullis, Boris Johnson's former chimp mascot, affectionately known as Jonathan C. Gullis by his former students. But why did Gullis join Reform UK? And what does it say about what Nigel Farage really intends, that he keeps inviting more and more current and former Conservative politicians into his party to stand as Reform candidates? So first of all, let's look at Gullis's motivation, then consider what Farage is playing at here. Jonathan Gullis claims that he has switched from his 18-year membership of the Conservative Party to Reform UK because his former party are failing on legal and illegal immigration and in promoting net zero. This right here is how we know he's lying. The Conservative Party, as it currently stands, is aligned with Reform UK on all of those points, even going as far as suggesting they'd support abandoning human rights laws to make it all happen. Whereas Gullis was seemingly happy to be a Conservative at the time when they did support net zero and did support the forms of immigration he is now attacking. It's one thing to leave a party when that party diverges from you on certain policies. Gullis has left when they've actually aligned more closely with him. That makes no sense. So let's try another explanation. Jonathan Gullis lost his cushy job as an MP last summer. He tried for many months to get a job as a teacher. Yes, he's a qualified teacher. Yes, I know. However, he was unable to find work. Embarrassingly, he didn't even attempt to hide this fact. He would actually complain very loudly to the media about how he was unable to get a job as a teacher. This now leads to the inevitable extension to Oscar Wilde's quote, "Those who can do, those who can't teach, those who can't teach join Reform UK." I found it particularly baffling that a Tory would draw attention to the fact that they were unemployable. Tories usually default to a belief that if you don't have a job, then you're not trying, and if you don't have a good job, then you lack ambition. After all, their solution to poverty is just for people to work hard and get a better job, isn't it? So why was Gullis publicly wailing about not being able to find work? Anyway, after a lot of sobbing, Ian Duncan Smith took pity on him and gave him a job at his think tank. But either this didn't work out, or it wasn't paying Gullis enough pork scratchings for his liking, so he has now joined Reform UK. He will expect to be made a candidate in a nice winnable seat and hope to get back onto the gravy train with the close to £100,000 a year salary, expenses, subsidised meal troughs and a very tasty pension. And I have no doubt Farage will give him all that. I've discussed this in the past, but there's a reason why Farage continues to gather Tories, including famous Tories, to his side. They'll behave themselves. There was a time when even people close to Farage didn't really believe he wanted to be Prime Minister. Things are different now, I think. He probably just didn't believe he could. But the potential for grifting an illicit fortune as Prime Minister is surely too tempting for the Shitler youth, particularly after reading about how much Boris Johnson trousered as Prime Minister. As we've seen in local government, the usual Reform UK people are incapable of working with even themselves. The level of infight in Reform UK councils is spectacular. They're turning on each other in almost every council they control, and that's without the pressure of being in decline. They have momentum, yet they still turn on each other when times are good. What's it going to be like when times get tough? This is already risking their reputation for the next general election. Frankly, from Farage's point of view, he probably doesn't know which is worst, winning no more councils and so looking like momentum has stalled, or winning lots more councils and exposing more of the country to their feckless incompetence and civil warring. But one thing he will be certain of, whether he wins power after the next election or just a much larger cohort of MPs, he cannot afford the indiscipline in Westminster that his councillors are displaying in local government. He needs candidates for the winnable seats who will do as they are told. Jonathan Gullis will do whatever you tell him in return for all the peanuts he can stuff into his cheeks. He was no bother for Johnson. He was no bother for Sunak. Can't really say with trust because he was having a nap while she was Prime Minister. But the more of these Tories Farage brings into Reform UK, the harder it becomes to claim they're not just another Conservative party. Reform UK's big appeal is that they're not Labour or the Conservatives, they're not the established politics. Bit tricky to stick to that line when most of your candidates for the next election will have been Conservative candidates at the last one. This is also causing disquiet within Reform UK. The more grassroots support don't trust the Tories. Farage has trained them that way. It's their fault Brexit failed. It's their fault that failed. Their fault that failed, right? But bringing them in doesn't just sow doubt about Farage's real motives for power, but it also denies the grassroots candidacies of their own. There's a growing sense that they're doing all the legwork, but no realistic shot at the big time, as Farage is going to field candidacies for winnable seats with the Conservatives. Oh, the grassroots riffraff. Yeah, you can fight the no-hope seats. Yeah, you knock yourselves out, mate, knock yourselves out. Try not to be racist, because that's embarrassing. But does Farage risk going too far, to the point where it becomes noticeable to both the public and to the point where you've got a two-tier social structure within Reform UK itself, with the former Conservatives, the establishment, set above the grassroots support? Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel for more content. Click the bell notification icon so you know when new videos are coming out. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.